I say this to be constructive. I say this to help push us towards reality. Yesterday was Father's Day. What happens when your father, your biological father, the one who literally fathered you, what happens when that person now identifies as a woman? What happens when that person has, quote, transitioned, changed their name, maybe even had sex change surgery? What happens? How do you relate to that person? Yes, this is a highly sensitive issue in many homes across America today, both for mothers and fathers, for children of their mothers and fathers who have, quote, transitioned. How do they relate? For some, it's no problem whatsoever. Whatever, just embrace you for who you are. Others, wait a second, you're my dad your whole life now, or are you my mom? How do we relate? These are real issues. So I saw this reported yesterday. Kendall Jenner, part of the larger Kardashian clan, however that works out. Kendall Jenner, one of 10 children fathered by Bruce Jenner, sent him special greetings on Father's Day. Here's a headline. Kendall Jenner posts sweet tribute to her amazing dad, Caitlyn Jenner, as she shares throwback family snaps. So let's get this right. Kendall Jenner, physical daughter of Bruce Jenner, one of 10 children that he fathered as a male, as a father, as a dad. Kendall Jenner thanks him, your amazing dad, on Father's Day. But this is now Caitlyn Jenner. The headline doesn't say Bruce Jenner. It says Dad, Caitlyn Jenner. Friends, this underscores the fact that you cannot tamper with reality. With all respect to those who struggle, and with all respect to those in a totally separate class, namely intersex, where there is biological or chromosomal ambiguity as opposed to whether the person is male or female. We're not talking about intersex. We're talking about someone who is a biological, chromosomal male or female, who then identifies as the opposite of that. With all respect to whatever struggles they've been through, with all respect to whatever pain they've lived through, with all respect to whatever it has cost them to transition. I don't say this to mock or demean. I say this to say Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner remains a father, remains a dad, remains a biological male, remains someone whose DNA and genetics are male, no matter what hormones he's on. Now, here's what's so fascinating. If I talk like this on Twitter, I would be guilty of misgendering, and I could get banned from Twitter for referring to Bruce Jenner as Bruce. But is it misgendering if Kendall Jenner refers to Caitlyn Jenner as her dad? I mean, can you see the dilemma here? In Canada, it is across the country. It is a crime to intentionally misgender someone. In New York City, you could be fined up to $250,000 in the workplace. If Joseph comes in and says, "I'm now Jane," you can't question him. You can't ask for documentation from a psychologist or anything like that. No, if Joseph comes in and says, "I'm now Jane," you have to refer to him as her. You have to let him use the ladies' bathroom. And if you don't, you could be fined up to $250,000. There's a current case in Canada where a father did not want his 14-year-old daughter to transition to male. The court has blocked him from stopping his own daughter from getting hormone treatments to start to transition her over to male. And he will be instantly arrested if he refers to his daughter by her name or refers to her as she or as his daughter. Well, Kendall Jenner just referred to Caitlyn Jenner as her dad. That's because he is the dad. And he's going to remain the dad because you can't change that. And yet you could go back and change your birth certificate that says you're now female. Yeah, you can actually do that. You can change your birth certificate. There was a case in Canada. I believe the child was about 12 years old and was having a birth certificate changed. Think of that. You're now going back in time, going back in history and trying to undo what's been done and say you're actually born a certain way. If Bruce Jenner was born, Caitlyn Jenner was a female, then Bruce Jenner would not have fathered 10 children and Bruce Jenner would not be Kendall Jenner's dad. Friends, it's often been said that biology is not bigotry. It's not. We're just talking truth and facts, friends. And when a male competes against females, he has a biological advantage because he's a biological male. These are just realities. This is not bigotry. This is not hatred. This is not transphobia. In fact, because I've focused on these issues over the years and listened to people and tell their stories, read their stories, I understand this is tremendously painful. I tell you honestly, I cannot possibly relate to what someone goes through. Bruce Jenner, what he's lived through, what he's gone through. I can't identify with it. Nonetheless, my compassion does not move me away from truth. Jesus came in the spirit of grace and truth, embodying grace and truth. Grace and truth, compassion and truth, love and truth go hand in hand. It's love for me to say, Kendall Jenner, you did the right thing in honoring your dad on Father's Day rather than transferring honor for your dad to Mother's Day because he now identifies as she. He remains your dad. He remains a he. He remains a father. If God would speak to him, God would speak to him as a male, as a father, and we do him a disservice when we identify him as a woman and now celebrate his womanhood because he will never be a woman and he will never be a mother. These are facts. Biology is not bigotry. I was thinking about DNA. Let it stand for do not alter. Come on, friends. Reality. All right. Wanted to share that with you, get that off my heart and speak the truth. You said, well, what do we do about people who struggle? Well, here, let's back it up and ask this question. All right. What do we do with someone who's schizophrenic? What do we do with someone who's diagnosed with, quote, multiple personality disorder? And I say, quote, multiple personality disorder because I've had other psychologists tell me it's completely bogus. Don't even think of that as a reality. But to that person's perception, it's quite real. I remember sitting with a university professor once and his wife. Nancy and I were having dinner with him and his wife. And at one point, she said something that seemed out of character. And I'll make up names. He said, let's say her name was Audrey. And he said to her, was that Sarah? Yes, that was Sarah. Uh-huh. And then they went on talking. And then something else comes out later. Was that Antoinette? Yeah. Multiple personality disorder. And they said, yeah, we're both Christians, but she suffers with this, and it's a diagnosed condition. And now and I said, well, how do you deal with this as a Christian? And he said, well, I'm trying to lead each of the different personalities to Jesus. Whoa, with all respect, got to be a better way than that. If someone's schizophrenic, do we say, okay, one day you're Jim, nice Jim, and the next day you're angry Jim? You're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing? Or do we say, well, let's try to get to the root of that problem and help you? It's the same here. Just because we don't have a handy, easy solution in all cases doesn't mean that we collaborate with societal madness. Look, use the example again. There are people who suffer with what's called BIID, body identity integrity disorder. Now they are referred to as transabled. All right, not transgender, but transabled. So their brain map, their mind map tells them that they shouldn't have a right arm, that they shouldn't have a left leg. And they are tormented by the presence of that. It would be, I imagine, like if you had a head growing out of your shoulder, it would seem monstrous. And they finally have peace when they're able to get the thing amputated. Like one guy in England, he froze his foot, packed it in dry ice, froze his foot. And their doctors were able to save it. He froze it again. They had to amputate it. He has been so happy. He said, best thing he ever did. And there have been people literally laid down by train tracks. The train's coming by to have the train sever their leg. I saw on Jerry Springer years ago, I saw the video. I didn't see the show, but I saw the video where here's a guy, clearly a male, dressed as a female with a wig, or he's grown his hair up, but probably a wig and wearing a dress, but he's got no legs from the knees down. He's a man who identifies as a woman, but he's also suffering from body identity integrity disorder. So with a chainsaw, he was able to amputate both of his legs. Yeah. and they had on the show his ex-wife and his daughter. And the people in the audience, they were like, how can you be so crazy to cut your legs off? Yeah, it's fine if you think you're a woman. That's no big deal. But to cut your legs, how could you do that? But his wife was furious with him, screaming and yelling, you destroyed my life. I don't care you cut your legs. That's just stupid. You destroyed my life. Saying you're a woman, you destroyed my life. And the daughter's railing on him. I ended up on drugs because you. I ended up depressed because you. I ended up almost suicidal because of you. Because I knew you were my dad, but you wouldn't act like my dad. And what about cutting off? It's like, that's just stupid. But what affected them was the transgender issue. I look at it, I think, oh, this guy needs serious help. Serious help. But why is it fine to him to identify as a woman and modify what's between his legs through radical surgery? But it's not fine for him to have his legs amputated because that gives him peace. Why was a doctor in Scotland arrested for amputating limbs of healthy patients, but would be commended for performing sex change surgery? Friends, these people need our help. There's a better way to help them.